My name's Rowena Birch. I'm a member with Armidale Masters Swimming Club and I'm 36 years old. I didn't do any swimming as a child. I grew up in northern New South Wales, so we have a lot of water around there, lots of rivers close to the beach and that sort of thing. So I always wanted to do swimming club, but it just wasn't something that fitted in with the schedule. So we had a pool in the backyard, and given that it was the time of the Sydney 2000 Olympics, my sister and I used to emulate what we saw on television and race in our backyard pool. So that was pretty much it. And then in 2003, I moved to Perth to start studying. And I kind of missed the water there and would do the occasional swim at the pool and a bit of a paddle, but it wasn't until I was in Canberra doing a research scholarship at ANU, and I would go to the pool after uni finished each day, and I saw this group there training, and I was like, who are these people? They look like they're having lots of fun, and they're all adults, they're not kids. And that's how I found out about Masters Swimming. So I looked up the clubs back home in Perth, and when I got home, I joined Melville Masters in 2007. And then when we moved to Armidale, I transferred to Armidale in, I think, about 2014. In terms of Masters Swimming WA, I became a technical official in 2014, so starting off with the basics of timekeeping and chief timekeeper, and gradually working my way up through the qualifications until I qualified as a referee in 2018. So it's been quite a journey, and I really enjoy being on the pool deck, and it's a great team of people to work with, and we have a lot of fun while we're doing it, and it sort of helps you see a different side of the sport compared to when you're actually in the water, to actually see it from the pool deck and see how other people swim and how they compete and that sort of thing. It's been really good as well. And that's taken me onto a couple of the committees, Masters Swimming WA as well, so the pool competition committee, and recently starting the committee looking at organising the Australian Masters Games for next year, so fingers crossed they'll be going ahead. My study career has been quite diverse. I ended up in Western Australia because I wanted to study vet science, and this is where I got an offer. So over to Perth I came in 2003. And then it turned out I did 2 years of vet science and went, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be squeezing Maltese Terriers or Glads for the rest of my life. And while we were in our first year, you have to do a lot of the basic sort of science units, and one of those was statistics. And I thought, I really like this. When everyone else in my class was like, why do we have to do this? I hate it. It's terrible. It's awful. So I started to pick up a few more units in that, and then after 2 years of vet science went, no, I don't want to do this, I just want to do maths and stats. So transferred into a Bachelor of Science in Maths and Stats and Conservation Biology, and that's what I ended up graduating with. And then I went on to do honours in Conservation Biology in quite a quantitative sort of a project, which is looking at modelling the recreational jewfish fishery off the coast of Perth. Which is quite an interesting fishery, because they're a long-lived but not as common species, and because they live at depth, there can be a lot of issues when people fish them, catch them and then bring them to the surface. They don't necessarily survive, so it can put the population at risk. So that was why we were looking at modelling that particular population and the types of controls and things and what impact they might have on the fishery. When I finished that, I went on and worked in universities for quite a while, mainly in domestic recruitment and first year student support, and worked at 3 universities in Perth, and started my Masters in biostatistics as well, because I clearly hadn't done enough maths and stats at uni. When I finished that, I had a brief attempt at a PhD. It didn't go so well, and I withdrew from that after about 18 months. Got a position on the WA Department of Health graduate program, and since then I've been working in government doing statistics, and I really enjoy it. It's being surrounded by nerdy people like me with maths degrees, and it's brilliant. I love it. When I'm racing, no. When you're officiating, there's definitely things that we have to do that are, mandated in the rules. But when I race, I think maybe because I didn't do it as a kid, I'm not really in it for sheep stations. I'm just sort of there for the fun, and I don't really know much about race tactics and that sort of thing. So I just, turn up, jump in, see what happens. And yeah, that's pretty much my approach to racing. And I think that's the great thing about master swimming is that, you can take it as seriously as you like, and it doesn't have to be the be all and end all, and you can just go in and compete against yourself and have fun. I've got quite eclectic music tastes. I grew up listening to a lot of classic FM, so I think that's kind of stuck. And it's what's the station that my car is locked to. So yeah, a bit of classical music, but I have to confess that I'm a massive Goo Goo Dolls fan. And then one of their newer songs, Indestructible, is a pretty good pump up song to say. So yeah. So I've done a team of 4 and a solo, and then almost another team of 4. So my first team of 4 was quite some time ago, and that was quite an experience. I got really, really sick on the boat, and I just vowed that I would never ever do another team 1 again. If I was going to swim to Rottnest again, it was going to be solo or bust, so I wouldn't have to be on a boat. So in 2016, I finally bit the bullet and competed in the first Port to Pub in the 20 kilometre or 19.7 kilometre version of the event. And I had such a great time. It was quite disorientating though, because it was really overcast that day, and I just felt like I was swimming around in circles. Because sometimes my boat would be on one side of me and then they'd move over to the other side, and it just gave me this impression that I was just going around in circles. But yeah, I had a really good support team around me, and my paddler was exceptionally good because he just flat out lies to me the whole time. He's like, oh yeah, we're nearly there. It's okay. I can see the beach. And yeah, he sort of doubted it quite a bit, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of training, and I sort of think back to that now, and I just, I don't know if I could do that anytime soon. I don't think I've got the time to commit to it, but yeah, it was definitely worthwhile doing. Just believing that you can do it, and doing what you can to be prepared. One of the things that I did was make sure I got in early with the 10 kilometre swim so that I would have more opportunities to do it if I didn't make the qualifying time the first time round. And in the end, I didn't need it, but it just gave me that reassurance that, yeah, I could do this, and that things were going well. Before the end of the year, even that I was halfway to Rottnest already. So make sure you practice all your nutrition and that sort of thing as well, so that you know what you're going to tolerate, and have backup plans as well. So I found that by the time I was about halfway across, I just didn't want to take any solid foods at all, and it was pretty much Gatorade that got me to the end, because it's got that sugar in it, and because yeah, your mouth is so full of salt that everything just tastes disgusting. So adult gymnastics, it was quite like master swimming. Again, it was something that I'd always thought would be a bit of fun, but I didn't get the opportunity as a child to do it. Don't get me wrong, I did a lot of stuff as a child. We did rowing and horse riding and music and all that sort of stuff, but gymnastics was one of the things that I didn't get to try out. So Armidale Gymnastics Club were offering a class for adults, and I thought, oh, that kind of sounds like fun. And we really do have a great time. It's quite a a mixed ability group. So we have people ranging from complete beginners like me, right through to people who were quite talented as youngsters and went right through gymnastics to quite high levels when they were younger as well. So yeah, I can't do much, but I certainly have a lot of fun trying, and it's really about those core skills in balance and flexibility, coordination, which are going to be really important as I get older, you know, and keeping you on your feet and keeping active and that sort of thing as well. So it's got that dual benefit, I suppose. And last year we even started competing, and that's been quite interesting as well, particularly for the sport in WA, because they haven't really had adult competition so much. So it's kind of been like, well, what do we do with the adults? Like, what do they do? Like, how do we judge them? Because we can't, you know, how do we keep an even playing field when you've got someone who used to be an elite gymnast when they were younger and someone who's a complete beginner? Like, you don't have enough to put everyone in the same class. So yeah, I think I'm really fortunate to belong to two really fantastic clubs out here in Armidale. It's just, both of them give you such a good feeling of community and family, and are a really important part of my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah. It's hard to pick just one that really stands out. I think obviously the swim to Rottnest was a real big one for me, because it's such a big achievement to be able to do that. But then some of the other ones I think have been where I've gone away to compete. So South Australia is one of my favourite destinations, and not just because they have froggy cakes and Kitchener buns, but they have a South Australia Masters Games every year, I think, and I went over to compete at Orroroo, which is a little town not too far from Port Augusta, and it was in a 33 1/3 yard pool, and my sister came down from Port Augusta to swim with me as well. So that was really special, having her there with me and having a bit of a race and things as well, because she lives in regional Australia. She's lived in lots of different towns, but she hasn't really had good access to a pool and that sort of thing. So being able to do what I do is quite difficult for her, and I think she'd really like that opportunity, but it's just not practical where she lives. And going to New Zealand a couple of years ago for the World Masters Games was another highlight, and my whole family went across to have some time together and to watch me compete, so that was really special as well. Yeah, hair ribbons. I really don't know. I think it's just a little way of bringing a bit of colour into my day, into my life, particularly when I'm wearing something really serious like this navy blue dress I've got on today. Yeah, just a little way that you can kind of be a bit cheeky in a workplace office and get away with it. I've got quite a big ribbon collection, which I have been told is quite weird, but yeah.